Hi, so this is my washer here, and you'll notice there is that rubber gasket, and like many washers, the rubber gasket has a lot of mold on it. So you notice here that I have dark patches of mold. So what I'm going to do is I am going to test out 4 methods. One is with the baking soda. So what I'm going to do is use the baking soda to create a paste such that it sticks to this with the vinegar. So I'm going to use vinegar here. I'm also going to use hydrogen peroxide, and I'm going to use bleach. And I'm going to mix each one of these with a paste and see which one works best. So I'm not going to hold you in suspense. I'm going to show you the after here. So this is the after of the application of the clorox baking soda paste that I've applied. And it's very hard to tell, but in real life there's some shadows here which makes these a little bit dark, so the mold seems to still be there, or the discoloration is still there, but a lot of it has been cleaned out, and I would say 70 to 80% of it is basically gone using that method. So if I applied it a couple of more times, I imagine it will be, basically as clean as the, spots here. So this is really the after, and let me show you how I actually did it. So I have my cup of baking soda. I'm going to soak it with the vinegar and with the hydrogen peroxide and also with the bleach. Now I have a toothbrush and also a plastic spoon that I'm going to use to spread it onto the mold here on the rubber gasket. And also what I do have is saran wrap. So I have saran wrap, and I'm going to wrap it such that it doesn't evaporate, and I'm going to keep it overnight. So this is the vinegar here that I am slowly pouring in, and you'll notice it does fizz a little bit. So this here is the hydrogen peroxide, and you notice this doesn't really fizz all that much. Now I am just putting a little bit such that I can create a gummy paste. And finally, for this last one, I am going to pour in Clorox bleach. So this is just your normal regular Clorox bleach. So all I'm hoping to do is to have the paste a little bit thick. So I might have to add more baking soda. So you notice here I created the paste, and this is the vinegar. So you see this is the consistency of the baking soda with the vinegar. This is the hydrogen peroxide with the baking soda. This is the Clorox bleach with the baking soda. So what I'm going to do, of course, is I am going to apply each one of these in different sections. Then I am going to, put saran wrap around the treated area so that the paste still touches the surface, but it doesn't evaporate. And hopefully, I'll be able to, tell the difference as far as, which one treats the rubber ring best. So you notice here I've applied the paste. This is the vinegar with the baking soda. That's the hydrogen peroxide with the baking soda. That's the bleach here with the baking soda. And this up here is the mixture of vinegar and peroxide with the baking soda. And, I'm going to wrap it with saran wrap and see what happens overnight. So see, I have the saran wrap here. Let me zoom in and show you what it's actually doing. So now it's pushing the paste against the area you want to treat, and it holds it in place, and it keeps it from evaporating once again. So you might have to do this multiple times. Now the ideal situation is if you could actually take out the gasket, but many people really don't want to risk taking out the gasket and putting it back in and disassembling your washer. So this is what I'm doing here. You could see that everything is pushed in place, against the mold, and it's not going to evaporate. So this here is the moment of truth. I've waited about 20 hours, not quite 24 hours. I'm going to remove the saran wrap And what I'm going to do is wet this with water and also, you know, scrub it out and see what happens. So let me go ahead and just remove a lot of the saran wrap. Now you notice that some of this did dry because I didn't quite put the saran wrap very tightly. So, but at the same time, it did get the opportunity to soak into the porous areas. So I have my bucket of water handy on the side. What I'm going to do here is, you know, scrub this out and see what areas are, you know, actually. So you notice that the mold didn't really go away for the vinegar. Now for the side with basically the bleach, and you notice with the bleach, it did come out. You notice there, it came out a lot better. So let me do a little bit more scrubbing here and show you the results. As you can see, just that discoloration, this section here totally disappeared. So what that tells you is that the bleach is likely the most effective, more so than the vinegar and the hydrogen peroxide. But let me clean this out here so you could at least see a little bit better what went on. So I've cleared this up as much as I can using the toothbrush, and you notice this spot here where the bleach is for the most part pretty clean, whereas anything that was vinegar or hydrogen peroxide, while there was a slight difference, you know, it wasn't as dramatic as what you would see with the bleach. So what you can continue to do is applying the paste, or just, you know, constantly scrubbing it every now and then, wetting this with Clorox just to keep it you know, soaked with Clorox and having the bleach or the mold, you know, go away. But it does show here that, you know, the after with the paste does work. So if you want to reapply the paste in a more distributed manner and evenly distributed, that is probably a good idea. Whereas here my test was a little bit spotty, and also to give the saran wrap a little bit better seal. And you could see here with the hydrogen peroxide, this side and the vinegar is not as effective, whereas with the bleach it is a lot more effective. So I've applied the second coat of the Clorox with the baking soda paste, and you could see there is a dramatic difference here. You know, it's actually very clean. I would say it took off about 70% of the mold or discoloration in the second application, because I was a little bit more careful with it. But also, I didn't put it in for, you know, 24 hours. All I did was leave it there for about an hour and a half, because to be honest with you, I really wanted to see the results and you know, finish up this video. So I think if you apply it, you know, a third time, or if you moisten the paste consistently and keep it there for probably 4 hours, a lot of the discoloration will be gone. You could see here in my basically second application, a lot of the like really black. So this here looks a little bit darker because of the shadow, but in reality, if I'm looking at it right now, it's just a night and day difference. So you know, I hope this helped, and you know, please subscribe, and thank you for watching.